Jared Cameron here. I'm with the Consul General. Nice to speak to you. I'm here at the NGO Conference 2015. Thank you so much for having me to sit in and listen on the panel. First thing I want to say is, what's the number one thing that stands out in your mind in terms of leading the relief efforts in preemptive action to make sure that things like this doesn't happen again, like Yolanda, for example?
Yeah, that's right. I think it has been mentioned in the panel discussions. I think we really need disaster planning, and at the same time coming out with innovative approaches to disaster prevention, and at the same time also coming out with IT-enabled services that will be helpful to not only the affected villagers, but also the government authorities who are in charge of implementing the disaster plan.
Right. That's actually true. So then how can we make sure that we monitor correctly the plans that we put into place and monitor also the funds that are being allocated towards some of these efforts?
Well, that requires a lot of coordination. As mentioned earlier, it's not only the government that is involved, it's also the private sectors on the ground, it's also the community organizations that are on the ground, also the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. So it's always important that there is coordination even when it comes to the planning, so that when implementation starts, it's a little easier to do the implementation.
Well, thank you so much, and we thank you for leading the charge, and the future looks bright, and one step at a time, I'm sure we'll get there.
I would hope so. Thank you so much as well.
Thank you. Jared Cameron here at the NGO 2015 conference. I'm here with Ludi Hughes. Thank you for taking a moment to speak with me.
Oh, thank you so much.
So I just sat in on the panel, and one of the first questions that come to mind is about rebuilding the Philippines. Can you just tell us some of those efforts in terms of maybe what the average person can do if they want to help assist you guys in doing that?
Is it an average person here living in America?
Yeah, just an average person.
Well, all that they can do is like donate a little bit of their time, their money, because a little bit of something, it means it's a lot of money in the Philippines. And that's how it takes to rebuild the Philippines. I know they already rebuilt, and I know that the Filipinos are very resilient people, and that's one of the factors that the Filipinos are really when it comes to calamities, they are very strong, and you don't have to donate a lot of money. All you have to do is to donate a little bit of money, and just it will help a lot in rebuilding the Philippines. And anybody can donate. Any private companies, every non-profit can donate to our cause.
And what about in terms of preemptive stuff? What steps are being taken now? What are some of the steps being taken to make sure that they can get ahead of the disaster instead of responding, but they can also be ready to react as soon as something happens, if unfortunately something
As I explained, with the government funding, there is an international funding, and it's a lot of money. The U.S. alone has $90 million, but it has to be reallocated to every community, and not only one province or one town. It has to be overall, and that's what it's all about. There's a lot of help from there's an international assistance like England and Australia, Canada, and it's a lot of money, but we're gonna have to utilize this money and use it in a proper projects and programs.
Right. So is there anything that would be considered as top priority in terms of where those funds are being allocated to? Is there anything at the top of the list, top 2 or 3 things that we can really pay more attention to?
Yes, and as I said before, there's around 1.6 million children, displaced, and they can use it in vaccination, in school projects, in school supplies, and also it will help in economic growth, and maybe all the people who really like lost their business and livelihood, I think they should really like get this funding to rebuild again their life.
So the ones that have lost their homes and everything that have to rebuild, they should be some of the ones that we pay attention to first.
Yes, and especially the children. There's so many children.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Ludi, and I appreciate everything that you said here, and I look forward to what's next for you and the future of Philippines.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jared Cameron here. I'm at the NGO Conference 2015, and I'm here with Fernando Mendez. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.
So I heard you mention something during the panel about the preventive measures that the Philippines can take against natural disasters so that something like Yolanda doesn't happen again. Can you describe maybe 2 of those measures that you can take in order to prevent something like this from happening again?
Well, number one is educating these people to organize like preventive measures to avoid panic and that kind of situation, like get the medicines immediately before they are distributed. It's like you have to create a warehouse of many things, and if there's like a part department, it's always there. It's like we have to be prepared before bad things happen. It's so simple. So that way we can lessen the cost of rehabilitation, less cost in building, and less cost of lives. You know, it's like if there's a emergency equipment or emergency anything, that will probably solve the problems. Right now, Philippines is prone to so many typhoons, cyclones, and we know that. So what we do is just be prepared for it. Do we have to have a more stronger building, or avoid those kind of woods that really fall apart in very simple wind or something? So I think we have to get advice from best architects about this kind of situation, like earthquake prone or typhoon prone or something like that. So it can be discussed. The NGO and the government sector should work together and find the best architects, find the best engineers for this kind of situation.
Right. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And is there any way that maybe we can begin to look at climate change as one of the issues possibly, or one of the ways that can help maybe scientifically take some preventive measures and steps towards making that better and tackling the problem from that angle?
Well, of course, you have to develop a focus group or a very professional agency to do this. You know, we cannot do that. I cannot do it. And somebody who's professional can solve that problem. And we have the best scientists, best engineers, and to do that outside the Philippines or maybe inside the Philippines as well. So
great. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me, and good luck with the rest of the Philippines, and I can't wait to visit myself.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
I'll buy you halo-halo.
I look forward to it. Jared Cameron here again at the United Nations headquarters, and I'm here with one of the coordinators of today's conference for discussing sustainability and rebuilding Philippines after Typhoon Yolanda. I'm here with Miss Aurora Aquino. Thank you again for inviting us to cover the conference. Please, just give me a little bit of how you feel and your thoughts on rebuilding the Philippines and some of the more important things, priorities that we should pay attention to make that a success.
The best thing to do to make it success again is to have the help of the United Nations and to be heard by others. If they want to invest in the Philippines and to support those people right now struggling to get a new job, to get a new life, to be alive again. Mm-hmm. And the topic of this is that after the disaster, what is happening right now? What is happening right now? They still have many people needing help, and the kind of disaster like that and calamities like that, you cannot recover so quickly. Although it's 2 years ago, people are still working, to recover all that. And that's why our first approach to UN, so to get some help, from people who are attendees and for people who actually contribute in nothing but charity. We want to be heard. We would like to expand, all the help that is needed to be done, by the Yolanda typhoon, because there's still lots of work to be done and lots of, needs that we can do. And I asked myself while I'm here, since I'm humanitarian ambassador, I said, what can I do for Philippines in order for me to help? And so while I'm here, I would like to do something. And I was so happy to be called one of the coordinator, on this conference. And now it seems to be successful, and everything is very, very well, done. And hopefully we have a follow-up on this first conference to second conference, which more people will be coming. And actually, Manuel Pacquiao is supposed to be on this conference, and he canceled the last minute because of his important duties that he has to go. But maybe on the second conference he will be able to join us, and some celebrities who wants to do this charity, the goodwill for the Philippines.
Well, I'm sure Manny, if he's here and if he comes in the next event, that it'll definitely get a lot more recognition that it deserves. It was a great turnout today. So thank you again, and congratulations for the conference, the successful conference that you had today.
Thank you, and thank you very much for coming, Binoski. I'm so very happy because when I asked you at first, you came, with no objection, and I'm glad that you're here.
Well, thank you.